are. 1985, episode 85.
85. How
Stacy,
are you?
I am doing so well. And have you done something different with the card? The card, the notation card looks much, I don't know, it looks very, very well done today. I don't know. What is it?
Really?
Yeah, it looks like
Really?
it's bolder.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know. Oh,
All
you mean
right.
like this here?
Yeah, it just looks very rich, like it's a deep black.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So it's funny you did know this officially makes you king of the details because when the sevens in this font looks
Yeah.
like ones, because the little top
Okay.
is so
Yes.
short. So during the 70s, I went to a different font so that the
Okay.
7 looked like a 7. And then I
Look
went
at
back to
you.
it.
You see,
And you
there's
noticed.
of course I noticed. There's these little details that go into things, and that's what I'm very, very good
Wow.
at.
Yeah.
So today I thought I'd liven things up by wearing my Ted Lasso banter jersey. I'm a huge Ted Lasso fan. I really am. Roy Kent is one of my favorites on there. His girlfriend Keely. So I love the whole show. It's absolutely brilliant. If you guys haven't seen it, they do a bunch of Rocky references, and they even throw a victory reference in there. Ted Lasso, as you know, is on Apple. It's there are 10 episodes each. It's 3 seasons, and it's from start to finish. It's all done, so you can binge watch them all. And I recommend it. One episode, Ted Lasso is the coach of this British fictitious professional soccer team, and he's trying to inspire them with this new way of doing things. And he shows a video. It's an old video from like the 70s or 80s of an older style soccer that's not used anymore, and it's being narrated, and it's set to some music, so the players are watching it, and it's the theme from Victory. And so it's awesome.
Nice.
And not a lot of fans have caught on to that. So but they do talk about Rocky a fair amount, and it's very inspirational, and it was one of the things, quite honestly, that got a lot of people through COVID, because that's when that had premiered, and it was just one of those feel good episodes. You just walk away from it feeling better about everything. And at that time, COVID was just scaring the hell out of everybody. And so, no one knew what was going on. So it was a feel good moment. So anyone who hasn't seen it, go watch Ted Lasso.
It's as you're talking about it, I'm like, you know what? I have heard of it, but I do need
you will
to
not be
binge.
you will not be disappointed. You will fall in love with this, and you'll want to start a Ted Lasso podcast. Stacy, what was happening in 1985 in Sylvester Stallone's life?
Okay, just a little thing called Rocky 4.
I remember they had done on 2020. It was, I think, with Hugh Downs and Barbara Walters. They had interviewed Sly. They had gone to Mexico and interviewed him on the set of Rambo 2. And it was very interesting. He goes to Rambo 2, and I'm going to see if I can try to send the video. Maybe we can insert it.
Sure.
When he's on the sampan, that bamboo boat that he takes up river with Cobayo.
Yep.
And this is like before it blows up. And he's got the headband on and the black t-shirt, tank top or whatever. He's sitting there in between scenes, and as they're setting up, he's literally writing the script for Rocky 4.
In addition to starring, Stallone also wrote the script for Rambo. His insistence that the picture be packed with action has put unparalleled physical demands on his endurance.
And when he gets done with Rambo 2, he goes through all the reshoots and everything, and once everything is in the can, as they say, it's been edited, he cuts his hair and he jumps right to Rocky 4, back to back, because Rocky 4 comes out November of 85. And I remember that because I was sitting alone in the theater. It was a jam-packed theater. There was not one open seat, but I had no date. I was with no friends. I was just on my own, just watching it. Of course, I was blown away. And the reaction was like a Star Wars reaction, people just cheering in their chairs. But Sly was king of the world, 1985. If there was a peak in Sly's career, I would have to say professionally, it's 85. My God.
Yeah. I remember 85. It's funny because I saw it in 86 because my birthday's in January. And I was reluctant to go see it because when I saw Rocky 3, I'm like, oh my God, who's going to die next? So by the time I got to Rocky 4, everyone at school had already seen it. So I walked in already knowing that Apollo died in it. So I was like, I'm glad I knew ahead of time. But it was my 13th birthday. It was a Saturday, January 4th, 1986 was a Saturday, and that's when I saw Rocky 4. It was for my 13th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. What a heck of a
So,
birthday present. That's
yeah, it
awesome.
was. It was, and I wasn't. I was glad that I knew ahead of time. I wasn't as traumatized leaving, but that was the movie that just, I don't know.
Sparked it.
You know, it makes you feel like you can fly by the time you leave. It just, you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna conquer the world. You can do anything. That's how you
You know,
feel.
that's what it is. And it's the only episode I think where people, I remember being aggravated with Adrian. You can't win.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's a
Yeah.
little harsh, Adrian. What are you talking about here?
Yeah.
No,
I
but
know.
she was afraid for Rocky
Yeah, she's
because he,
afraid. She doesn't want to lose
yeah,
her husband.
of
Yeah, I
course.
know. I
But like,
know.
you don't expect that from her. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Up to that point, she's like, oh, it's okay to be afraid. It's
Mm,
okay, but at least you will have lost knowing you gave it your best shot or
Right.
whatever. And it isn't about the people chanting your name. It's about us. When all the
Right.
smoke is cleared, it's just going to be us. You
Uh,
can't live that way. I can't live that way. And
right.
then she goes, you can't win.
No, but he just killed Apollo. He just killed. I know it's painful. I know it's painful,
Terrible.
but it's like they just watched their best friend die from this
That's
guy.
true.
And so
That's
she's
true.
terrified. She
No,
is
you're
she
right.
wants him out of this. She doesn't even go. I think that's the most reluctant Adrian we've ever seen. Was at least up until that point. Clearly
Yeah.
she was reluctant in 5, but up until that point that was
Right.
the most reluctant Adrian, because he was like a robot strength,
I know.
craziness. But
He
I put
was.
out a post late last night when I couldn't sleep saying, what was your, episode 85 on the way, 1985, what was your favorite thing? And of course, the training montages are, people love both training montages, and people loved the soundtrack. That's the other big answer.
Yeah.
There was only a few answers, which is one of my favorite scenes, is with Duke and Rocky saying, you know what you need to do it. That whole
Right.
scene. That's one of my favorite scenes from Rocky 4, because I love Duke. I have said that Duke was Apollo's Adrian,
Mhm.
and that, where I always felt like Rocky and Apollo were sort of similar. They're out there, they want to conquer the world, they want to prove things to themselves, and
Yeah.
that they still have it. And then in the meantime, Adrian's holding down the fort. In an Apollo's world, Tony, Duke is holding down the fort and being like, you need to take a look at this guy who wants to fight you. That, I don't know. They seem to
Well, you're
have that
right.
same
You're
role.
right, because what does Duke say? Apollo was like my son.
Yes.
And you're the one that's going to carry for it. So,
Yeah.
I would love, if it ever gets off the ground, I really hope this prequel idea that Sly does for Amazon. If there's one project I want
Yeah.
Sly to do more than anything, it's that.
That.
I want to see. I want to see the relationship as much as I want to see Rocky meeting Mickey and Paulie and Adrian, all that, and Gazzo.
Yeah. Mhm.
I want to see Apollo, a little bit of Apollo side,
Yes.
because we really don't explore any of Marianne Creed. And okay, it's called Rocky, it's not called Apollo. I get that,
Right.
but as invested as we are with the Apollo Creed character,
Mhm.
I would love to see Apollo coming up to the ranks when he meets Marianne Creed, just a little bit
Right.
here and there. How maybe Apollo's father wasn't in the picture, and maybe Duke was a father figure that took him in the
Right.
boxing. So I'd love to see that. And I don't know if Sly has that written that way. I've not asked him about that. I think he might throw things in like that just a little
Mhm.
bit. Why not? Because I think, how frustrated he is with
Yeah.
the spinoff to
Mhm.
Rocky. Anyways, I'm
Yeah.
going on and on and on. I could talk forever
Yeah.
about the prequel, but I hope that happens. I don't know if it's
Mhm.
going to, but I hope it does.
I think, he could easily do that. He loves ensemble casts anyway.
Yeah, he
He
does.
loves that. That's kind of his jam. So, and the show This Is Us. I love how This Is Us. I don't know if you've seen that,
I've
but
seen enough of it.
Milo Ventimiglia is in that, and and they play with time all the time. They're going,
Yeah.
in history, but there's like 6 storylines going at the same time.
Right.
It's
Right.
so well done, at least from a writing perspective. He could do the history of every single character and sort of weave it all together as it goes on. But these Cobra Kai, the way that is,
Oh, yeah.
Yellowstone, and that is, I don't know. Sometimes I worry about theaters, because it's like they're not as needed anymore.
No,
because you can stream everything.
it's
you
saying,
know?
and so many people, you can build your own poor man's, I guess, movie theater in your house,
Mhm.
a decent projector. I'm not talking high end.
Yeah.
A decent one costs about $250, maybe $300. I have a $300 projector. That's a low end projector. It's
Right.
fantastic. You
Yeah.
can get a 6 foot by 10 foot screen like I have. You can
Yeah.
get that for $200. And
Hmm.
it's unbelievable. And you can get a variety of sound systems for anything from $150 to maybe $800-900 anywhere in there, and you can have a kick-ass home theater.
That's not bad.
You do not need to go to the movie theaters. You don't.
Mm.
Having said that, it's still pretty fun seeing
Yeah.
a 20-foot by 60-foot screen,
Yes.
Rocky or
then-
Star Wars or whatever it is.
And then after he does the prequel to Rocky, he can do the prequel to Rambo.
Why not? Why not? Let's get that in there.
How
You
did
know,
he do both in the same year? That is, I mean, that
He
was
was the
7 days
king.
a week for him, right?
that was it. There
did he
was
have a
no
day
rest.
off?
I can't imagine that he had much time off. But again, I think if you would ask him what suffered then, I think I would love to hear him looking back now and saying, wow, was it worth it? Career-wise, sure. For the fans, of course. But personally, what was it that he lost? What was it that he suffered? So, you know, in his first marriage, he was already past that at that
Yeah.
point. So, of course, then comes, Bridget Nielsen. And I just, those are the things I find fascinating. I don't care about the salaciousness of it. Believe it or not, Stacy, I've never been interested in the salacious nature of the celebrities' lives. I
Right.
tune out on that.
Right.
But I like hearing how what their internal thought process was. Talking about it. They could just say, okay, here I ran into some problem with the, this one or that one or whatever, but emotionally I was in this turmoil, and here's how I dealt with it. Here's where I was at. And I think they can do a world of good. And someday Sly's going to have an autobiography coming out, or a semi-autobiography. It is going to come out. And when it does, I think it's going to be an epic reveal. And it's going to be just another, I think it's going to be the final period on this Stallone / Rocky Rambo philosophies.
Yeah. It's funny. You mentioned in your live, I think it was yesterday, Driven, and he wrote Driven.
Yes,
And
he
so when I watch that, especially where he's the writer, I pay a little extra attention to the dialogue, because as writers, you write what you've been through.
Right.
And so the relationships, and I can't remember the name of the younger character, but he was having that problem with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And as I'm listening to those scenes, those arguments, or the ways she was disappointed and he's putting racing before, I'm sitting there going, it sounded like these could very well be conversations that Sly had with women that he was in relationships with, because he was so in demand.
Yes.
And how do you satisfy both worlds? And I'm sure that we know that there were heartbroken women, because, it's just, it's a pull and tug. And that I don't know, that felt like Sly in those scenes.
That's the one thing. Sly does an awful lot of things that are very, very good. But the one thing that I've heard him say over and over and over is that he writes what he knows. So he writes. That's what Rocky was. Rocky was a look at his highs and lows, his peaks and valleys, in his own life, and he just transferred that into a pair of boxing gloves. And Rocky and Adrian's story. So he was able to transfer that in a way that was so relatable and understandable without being glaringly in your face. And he's just such a smart guy that the man just never gets enough credit for that. And that's one of the things, like, we don't have to do that on the podcast and tell everyone listening this. You guys know this stuff already. These are for the newbies that are out there, or people we're trying to convert. Like, we're like Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, I don't talk about this that often, but I do go door to door, knocking on the door. I've got the fedora
with your Rocky religion.
Yeah, my Rocky philosophy religion, and I have my pamphlets. And I said, have you heard? And they said, have you heard what? Rocky is risen. Rocky is here. Get the hell out of here, you wacko. It's like I like the guys here. This will be my last top thing on this, and then we'll get off this. So, like right now, we're getting a new roof. Okay, it was supposed to be on last week, but it was raining, so they didn't want to go up on the roof when it was raining. So they're going to do it this Thursday and Friday, I think. Okay, fine. So I literally have a driveway jam packed with shingles and roofing stuff. It's been out. It's on 6 pallets right now.
Painful.
Fine. I no problem. But I get these idiots who go door to door. They are the roof guys, and they knock on your door and say, "Hey, I'm servicing a roof in the area, and I noticed you have some roof damage. Are you interested in having a new roof put on?" And I said, "Come
With
here.
everything in your driveway?
You see this over here? Yeah, just have it." I said, "You see all that over there? This is all roofing supplies." I said, "One of your competitors beat you to the punch." I said, "I'm having to put on." I said, "Do you not see this?" And he goes,
That's odd.
"Oh, okay. Sorry to bother you." He was just one of these young guys, couldn't be 25 years old,
Right.
just oblivious.
That's weird. I mean, he's walking by the supplies he's going to use.
I'll send you the picture. It's unmistakable. I got the picture somewhere here. There it is. There it is. And one last thing. I have this, because, we're talking about Rambo 5, 1985. I have this great picture. It's from my driver's license in 1985. This is unreal, this picture of me. I am Rambo'd out to the max in this.
Yes.
I went to the Pennsylvania State driver's place where you get your picture taken, dressed as Rambo, and I have my best Rambo scowl on. Now, remember, I'm like, I don't know, 16, 17 years old at this point. I looked everywhere before the podcast. I can't find it. So if I can find it, Stacy, please insert it here. Okay. And then
look at that. Oh my God.
That. Wow, look at that. It's amazing. This guy is crazy. And then I go from that to wearing the Italian Stallion sweatsuit. Remember when we had Who Wore It Better?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you could probably throw that in here if you want. That. So that was one of my favorites. I had just cut my hair. Rambo 2 had left the theaters, and Rocky 4 is out now. So now I'm dressing like Rocky 4. I've hung up the hat and the coat for a little bit because I want to wear the Italian sweatsuit in school. Because I figured if I was going to get beat up in something, I want to get beat up in something that I had a partial heritage in, my Italian heritage. I want to show that off. Exactly. Even though I'm Polish and Ukrainian as well, I didn't have a sweatshirt like that. So I said, well, let's go with the Italian. Mom will understand. About 2 years ago, it was every March I go back in for St. Patrick's Day with my family. My brother does a great thing at the house. And so I was there's a park called Naog Park, and I used to go up there as a kid dressed as Rambo, the long hair, the bandana, the brown thing, poncho, and all that stuff. And so I would build these fires. Anyways, I went back a few years ago and I did like a video and I put it up on Instagram. And Sly had wrote the nicest thing. In the video, I had talked about having an identity problem. And he wrote, it's probably, I have it somewhere up here. Maybe I'll drop it in here. And he talks about how, my friend, you don't have an identity problem. You found something that you found security in, and you stuck with it and you went for it. A lot of people can't say that. And I'm paraphrasing, but we'll put that up here because it was a really kind thing Sly said to me. And that really stuck with me. And I started to see myself a little bit differently. But again, when all the people in your life that love you, whether it's your parents, your wife, your spouse, if you have children, you have cousins, friends, whatever, it doesn't matter because it comes from a biased point of view. My father, it's almost impossible for my father to be not biased towards me. When it comes to something, when I make mistakes, he'll tell me. But when it comes to this Rocky world, it's very difficult to take their best wishes because it just comes from such love. And same for Sue. So I tend to listen, not that I don't listen to them.
I know what you mean.
But I tend to maybe just listen a little more to people who don't know me and either have something positive or negative to say. But I really don't let the negative drag me down either. I usually use it for some type of fuel. But anyways, I go on and on and on. Let's bring our guest. Can we have a new, first of all, we have a new host wrangler. His name is
we said Gretchen is our new hire.
Gretchen's gone. I had to fire Gretchen last week. Yeah,
I was not notified.
There was an incident in the corporate kitchen. Yeah, there
mhm.
was an incident. There was an
Oh,
incident.
this ought to
So
be
we have this.
interesting.
We have this young man from the west side of Chicago, and I think
Oh,
his name is Christopher. Can we send Christopher down to bring our
yes.
guest in? All right. Way too long to go for a dumb joke.
Oh, Mr. Charlie Knupp Owen, welcome to the show. How
Hi, Mike.
Hi,
Stacy.
Charlie.
How's it going?
It's
Good to see you.
it's going way better now. Trust me.
Well, I was just listening to what you were saying. It's awesome because it's like how Sly replied to you, that you
Yeah.
identified and you
Yeah.
found security in the character,
Yeah.
and that's what basically changed your life around. I think all of us have a similar story. All of us have been beat down. All of us have been bullied at some point of our lives. All of us have felt like we couldn't do it,
Yeah.
no matter what it was. We just couldn't do it.
Mhm.
And then clearly you have the Rocky influence
Right.
that tells you, oh, of course I can do it. I can do anything.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here. That's
Right.
why I've got all.
That's exactly why you're here. You are one of the most eclectic human beings on the planet. There
Oh,
is
so nice.
there is nothing standard or traditional about you. And that's one of the things I find incredibly endearing and interesting about you, because you're everything from head to toe. Your philosophies, your thought process is very much in line with my own on a great many things.
Right.
But I obviously you're here because of Rocky. What was it, Charlie, about this character of Rocky that awakened something in you?
Well, I gave a good deal of thought about this. I think it started. I was about 6 years old. My dad had just been killed. So me and Mum, she didn't have any money, so we moved to this area, which was not nice, but we did what we could. And then that was my first experience of getting bullied. I was bullied really bad because I was quite tall. I was skinny. I wasn't like I am now, thanks to Rocky. I was skinny but super tall, so I got bullied really bad. Things like you're beaten up every other day. I'm a nose broke a few times. Your clothes get stolen from you and thrown into the lake. I had my bike thrown into the canal so many times. So I felt that this was kind of my life. It was a pretty miserable childhood. Not my mum's fault if she's watching this. I don't want mum to think she done anything wrong. Mum's my hero. If she's watching this. If you're watching this, Mum, you're my hero. So here's what happened. I didn't see Rocky 1 first because I would have been about 3. So what happened was my granddad, he was the caretaker of this army camp, the British Army, and he lived on the camp. And I stayed there every couple of months. I had a whole weekend there. And he said, we were there, and he says, there's a projector in the NAFI. The NAFI is like the officers' mess. You want to come and see what films they've got? Sure. I was still a kid. What was I? So this is what, 80, 81?
Right.
I was probably about 11. Anyway, there's only one film there, and it's Rocky 2. And Mike knows how I feel about Rocky 2. And this is pretty much why. So I'm watching it, and I'm a bit confused at the beginning. There's clearly another film previously. And what struck me was how mild-mannered and lovely this brutal fighter was. He was just kind, and you could sense that he had this big heart that was too big for him, and you could sense this. And it was like, I was like, this is great, this is lovely. It's not a good movie. It's like a love story, and you know what, that was my first impression of Rocky 2. Not that it was a sports movie, that it was a love story. And my friends thought I was, years later, Rocky 3, Rocky 4 comes out. I'm like, it's a love story, guys. You're an idiot, Charlie. What are you talking about? Shut up. But if you guys are watching this,
Take that.
I knew.
Exactly.
So, this, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I sensed something was going to happen, she's woken up, bring the baby in. You got Mick there, Paulie. And all of a sudden, he's like, if I don't want to fight no more, it's fine. You've seen the baby. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And she knew that he wouldn't be able to live with that. And it's when she says, "There's one thing you want you to do for me, win." Oh my, just honestly, talking about it now, I've got goosebumps. Seriously.
I
All
get
down
it.
my arms.
Oh, yeah.
My hair stands up on the back of my neck. And then it goes, ding, ding, the big bells.
Yeah. Oh,
And I'm like this. I'm just staring at the screen like this. I'm like, what is happening? And that was my first experience of a training montage.
Yeah.
We've all seen them 1,000 times now, but very first training montage. And I'm telling you, it was like I never felt like this watching a movie before. And I became a massive movie buff. Actually, I used to, as soon as I hit about 8 years old, because I wanted to get out of Dodge. Weekends, all the bullies are out.
Yeah.
So I used to get on a bus. My mum was completely fine with it. I'd like one of those bus passes. It's like £5 a week. So I go on the bus and I go up to Hanley's, like the city centres, like 3-4 miles away. And I'd get, there's 2 cinemas. And I'd go to the Odeon or the ABC. And I would spend all day in there. Because I got really friendly with, like the ticket lady. She's like an old lady at the front taking you paper tickets. And I always got friendly with her and chit-chatty. So I'd go in and pay for, my movie, the 11 o'clock showing. And then I just bounce around. That one's finished. I just walk in next door and then walk in next door. And watch films all day, every weekend. So it's clearly it's affected my life. I'm a nut for movie memorabilia.
You are.
This is my Rocky wall. This room isn't just Rocky.
Right.
Like Boba Fett's right here, full size. But
you have something favorite of your Rocky stuff. Do you have in back of you? Do you have something favorite?
Do you mean the pieces?
Yeah. Do you have one particular piece that just not that it may be the best, but it to you emotionally, you're more connected to it than anything else? And we can come back to this too. I'm always interested in people's collections, what they have that means a lot to them.
I would say the brick and the piece of Mickey's sign over there.
Yeah. I
have another brick down here, but that's my favorite one. That's why it's on display. Can you see that here? Yeah, there's like a display.
Yeah.
And that's the one I put the expensive stuff in. I pulled some pieces out. But yeah, I mean the brick. Yeah. And Mickey's, the sign for Mickey's, I mean, that's the ultimate. But before then, if you want to talk about before then, it's been like my mission to complete every toy set.
Okay.
And the main one is Jack's. That's the most popular one. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think I have 92 figures. I don't have them all here, of course. They're actually in storage, but I do keep the limited editions and the expensive ones. Yeah. So I'll start with, here we go. This is a fun one. Right, so this is Paulie, Santa.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Right, so there's only 700 of these, and they weren't on sale. They were given to the staff. Christmas 2006. So quite rare. Let's see. You have the Rocky statue here. And there's just 1,000 of those. These are very rare. Let me see. These are quite nice. Got Thunder Lips. Rocky there.
Oh, love. I love Rocky.
Can you see that behind me? I got Thunder Lips.
The Thunder Lips. Yes, that's awesome.
Signed by Hulk Hogan.
So
a little mini thing, but
I was just gonna say either you're 12'3" or that's a mini version of the cape.
It's tiny. Little tiny thing, but it's fun. It fits. If it was big, it would cover a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it would be like a curtain.
Well, this one I was looking for probably a year, and you might have heard of him, Liam Pedder. I don't know if you have. He's a big collector in the Rocky groups. Great guy. He actually has helped me to complete my collection. Yeah. So this one, that is a favorite. That's the reflection there. So that's the Apollo. It's called the Apollo 1 in 100, and it's got a couple of autographs in there. I got like 10 of the Apollo autographs.
That's awesome.
And then there's the Holy Grails. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are ones that never been sold. they've been at the factory. Right. So this is the prototype for all the Jax figures. You see that?
Oh my God. That's
Now,
fabulous.
you can get, there's only 50 of these. So you can get, you can find them without the bag, still sealed. Super rare though. So if you got 50, I would say maybe 10 are still sealed. And that one's still sealed.
Yeah, right.
And then there's this.
Oh, nice.
You see that?
Isn't that interesting?
Do you want the story behind that? Okay. This is Jax, about 2008.
Yeah.
They were going to release a new set, and this was a prototype design of the belt they were going to include with it. There's only 15 of these known to exist, and ridiculously expensive, many, many thousands. And that is probably the rarest item in all of Rocky fandom.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's probably the rarest toy piece you'll find anywhere. So yeah, they're the Jack. I love stuff like this as well. Let me show you. I really like stuff like this. Like chintzy stuff, cute stuff, you know? Like I've got a photo novel, a novella of Rocky 2. It's really cool. There's tons of pictures in there. That
one of the first things
before.
I ever bought as a kid. The one of the very there wasn't much when we were kids, so that was one of the very first things.
Do you recognize that?
I
do.
You
recognize that?
I have the album. I don't have the cassette, but I have the album of it.
You had what? What did you have?
Yeah, right. The fun and fitness. The fun and fitness.
Me too.
Very rare.
And we got cute stuff like this. I get late Japanese laser discs. I love this sort of stuff. So still sealed. I got the 12-inch. Stuff. Chintzy things. You'll like this one, Mike. You'll like this. He has never done a signing before. This is his first signing. Vince DiCola.
Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that awesome?
Very, very cool.
Yeah, he did a signing at Comic-Con a few weeks ago. And a friend of mine was there. And he was selling them, and he went and he stood in the queue for half an hour and grabbed one for me. Nice. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah, that's
I love stuff like that. Oh, this one. This is a good one. Rocky Scrapbook. Have you seen that? The Rocky Scrapbook. I know you've had that one.
Yeah, I've got about 9 of them. I collect them.
Oh, nice.
Brilliant.
I do. If you can get that one signed, Charlie, get it signed.
Yeah.
There is a few pieces I would like to get signed. He did a Funko Pop. I got a Funko Pop a few weeks ago. That's a nice one.
I've only been recently made aware of them. I had never heard of a Funko before.
I've got loads of them.
They're fun.
So they're pretty, and they're a huge. These Funkos have such a huge following out there. I had no idea about it. So maybe about 2 years ago is when I first heard about it, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll look into that." And they got some Rockies. So I thought, well, there's a couple of them. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I got a few. So now, are you like me? Do you rotate things every once in a while? Like
yes.
I know you've been working on your Rocky wall for some time. So it's, I don't want to say it's new, but it's newer, right? Over the last year, you've been working on it. So do you see yourself in like every 6 months saying, okay, I'm going to take these 3 pieces down and I'm going to put these 3 pieces up. Right. Would you do that?
Yeah. I'll show you why. I always keep spares, just in case I want to do. Let me show you. I got, what have I got? Yeah, I've got to put these up at some point. The signed.
Yeah.
Those and what else have I got? Oh, Drago.
Cool. Gotcha. Right.
So
nice.
This is a cool one. This is really cool.
There you go.
Know that is Muhammad Ali. There.
That's nice. Beautiful.
So yeah, I've got some statues. I got figures. I got stuff in boxes. I got God knows how many gloves. Signed.
I love the tough wear gloves. I see an interesting piece of material, Charlie. It would probably be to your, to your right in the corner. It looks like it's a book. It looks like a book called Cue the Rocky Music. That is an amazing piece of literature. I'm telling you.
Hey, do you want me to show you something that I'm not happy about?
Okay, what happened?
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Look at that.
No. What do you see? Blank pages.
It's not signed.
Hey, Charlie. We love you. Connor's awesome. Sign Mike.
How did we not do that?
I don't know.
We hung out for 9 hours. How did that not happen?
I have no idea. Oh, you did ask though. My favorite pieces.
Yeah,
And I actually I do have an answer. Where did I put it?
I love the Paulie hat too, by the way.
Oh, aren't these cute?
Oh, those are great. Aren't they great?
Yeah. Yeah. Right, here we go. This is probably, I'd say this is my favorite piece. Probably, I've only ever seen it on sale once, and that's why I bought it. Well, then, it's an actual ticket to the filming of the Rocky 2 fight there.
Isn't that great?
And
it's so
been
poetic.
stamped
Because
and
of
signed.
what 2 means to you.
Wow.
Yeah, I see Sly's thing there. Because
Wow.
of what 2 means to you, that is a very poetic find. And and that's, I totally get why that's got to be your favorite. I get that.
Yeah, I'm all about 2. I've got him over here.
Yep.
It's
you sure do.
It makes me feel like we did an Uber tour. I think this was on the tour we did this year.
Yeah.
I think you did 2 tours.
Yeah.
And I was going to go on both of them, but I says, I'll tell you what, and we'll do our thing in the morning. We'll see you in the afternoon. And we got an Uber.
Right.
We basically listed all the Rocky 2 locations we could find.
Nice.
And we just Ubered to all of them. I think my favorite one there was the zoo, which is quite difficult. You could see they changed their camera angles to what you actually see in the shot.
Right.
But we figured all that out. If you look at buildings and the backgrounds and statues, you can line it up. But yeah, I would say, God, it's we had the hospital, that was it. It was at the archway, so the rear exit, and then the front. So I mean, we were standing there taking pictures and videoing. Hey yo, everyone's looking at us like we're morons, like we didn't care.
I know.
It was me, Tony, and Sean. I've sent you some pictures, Stacy. You can see them.
Yeah.
But we had an absolute blast. It just felt being there gives you that extra connection.
There you go.
It's you've turned emotion and fantasy into physical and touch.
Yes.
And you can relate to that. I mean, like I remember going to, I was with this was a couple of years ago. I think this was 2022, and we went to Mickey's gym. And I remember touching the wall, and I started crying.
Yeah. It's emotional.
Like this is a good one, by the way. That's the entire cast.
Nice.
In one glove. That's pretty sweet.
That is very, very nice. Yeah, you got to get that out. You got to get some kind of a case or something. That's beautiful.
It's there. It normally goes over there. It actually goes with the brick and the piece of sign over there. That's in there.
I got you.
The prototype, the belt, and this. That's all in that little.
I got you.
I had to open it up to show you.
Does that case light up, actually, Charlie?
Yeah.
It does light.
Yeah.
I thought it looks like it has a light coming. Okay, I wanted to make sure I wasn't seeing things.
You see it?
There you go. It's like a Rocky fish tank. I love that.
So, the fight comes, and it was amazing because it didn't matter how hard. I wasn't even thinking of that pun. It did. I was going to say it doesn't matter how hard you get hit. I was like,
stuck in our brains.
In my head. But obviously when he got up at the end, I saw Adrian. When Adrian got up, Paulie got up, sprues beer everywhere, and you got this sense of like incredible satisfaction and victory. And you could see Adrian, you could see that she knew everything was going to change. The life was going to change. Everything was going to be for the best. But her main thing was him. She knew that this would be the greatest day of his life. And she was that much happy for him. And you could sense that. You could sense that in the movie. And, Talia does a great job. She doesn't get enough credit. I know she doesn't do many movies. But look what she has done. Rocky and The Godfather. I mean,
if you're going to do movies.
That's
exactly. The way to go.
Yeah.
That's definitely the way to go.
I mean, it clearly helps that Francis Ford Coppola's a brother, but yeah, that's by the by.
She earns
she
it.
Did an awesome job.
She's a fabulous actress, though. She totally.
Oh God, yeah.
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 Oh,
I love Adrian. I love. I mean, I think. I mean, not just one of the best characters. I mean, without Rocky, couldn't be Rocky without Adrian. Mm-hmm. There is no Rocky without Adrian.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for sure. I mean, you can see. I mean, it was in 2. She kicked him off. When 3, she kicked him off on the beach.
Yeah.
4, she kicked him off in bloody Siberia and 6 feet of snow, you know.
Right.
And she's always done that. She's always been there. And yeah, I love it. And I think she's gorgeous as well. Not a lot of people talk about how pretty she is. She is. She is. I think she's smoking.
No, beautiful lady.
She is beautiful.
Yeah. But anyway, so what happened was it suddenly made me believe I can do that.
Right.
I can do that.
Right.
And so I joined the local boxing gym, and I was scared. I was scared to death. Getting hit, getting punched, you know. And then, so I went in there, and Holton Abbey Boxing Club. And they just showed me some few steps. There was no real training involved. And the guy said that he asked me if I'd ever boxed before, because I was only young. I was, 11. But I was smashing the bag. Like, I was smashing the bag. So he kind of pinged onto me, and he looked after me for a couple of years. And I became quite a good fighter, quite a good boxer after that. I could say that I haven't been bullied since I was 12.
Right.
So all that, and all of that, all of it, everything I've done in my life has been done with gusto. My wife calls it gusto. I always just get in there. I don't care what, you know, people say, what people think, what the rules are supposed to be. You know, just do it. Just go for it. If you want to do it, just go for it. Go for it, Rocky 5 on the poster. So I keep coming out with these puns. I'm sorry.
Right? No, it's perfect.
So that's what happened for me. It gave me an abundance, too much confidence, too much, and that was it. Then everything I did in my life after that was done with confidence and gusto, and here I am today. It's been a brilliant journey so far. All to do with Rocky. I could trace it back. Trace it back. Rocky 2 on that projector. That was the day everything changed. I don't want to sound cheesy, because I know everybody has their story of Rocky, and you'll find that most of them are actually very, very similar. But that's fine. You know, we've all got a story to tell. Everyone's got a story to tell.
Yeah.
But isn't it fantastic that it's around something that is what? We're like 50 years old coming up. And it's like, what, we're 45? And it still resonates. And what I find as well, I'm sure you guys have realized, it's massive in England. Rocky is like the Bible in England. Everybody's seen it. Every fighter you will ever meet, that was their Bible. Every fighter you'll ever meet in England. Anyone you'll ever meet. Because we're a fighting country, see, we don't have guns like America, so you kind of grow up fighting.
I want to hear from Stacy. Stacy, tell me your thoughts on where we're at so far with Charlie, because he said an awful lot of things, and I know you've got some thoughts on that. Please go ahead.
No,
sorry.
You're wonderful.
I talk a lot. Sorry.
This is great. No, you're good. I love. I always love the energy that our guests bring, and the love, the intense love and connection that's clear with you. It's funny because both of you actually have a very similar childhood with being bullied, being, you know, kids are horrible. And then discovering Rocky.
Yeah. When I watched The Pretender, I was like, this guy's fantastic.
Yeah.
This guy's brilliant. I've got to reach out. So that's what I found out about the tour, and we met.
Charlie, what's the Pretender? I'm not familiar with that.
Please.
You see what a horrible ego I have.
Actually, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about it, because if I did, I'd have this book signed. But I don't know what's going on.
That's
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, seriously? That guy's a whack job.
I wanted to show.
I'll see you again soon. I'll see you again in February.
You mentioned your mom. Charlie, I did not know about your father. That was startling when you said that. I just wanted to show this adorable picture of you and your mom.
Where did you find this?
I may have been trolling your Instagram a little bit. And then this is
Hi,
your
Mom.
This is recent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I don't know if you've ever thought about writing, but your posts, especially one, is this is your wife.
Yeah, she's amazing.
One of the anniversary posts I read, it was like a Hallmark card. I'm like, this guy's heart. And the connection, when I was reading what you said to her, in these posts, it was that connection was very Rocky Adrian like, you know, that connection to that one person. Was there a moment, were there moments in relationships with women, or I've always wondered if these Rocky fans, these men went, yeah, that was not cool. Rocky wouldn't do that. Or, you know what I mean? What did the Rocky and Adrian relationship teach you about commitment and marriage and things like that?
Well, this is my third wife, just to clear the air there. So if the first two are watching, still
third time's a charm.
No, I was always, with my first wife, I was just too young, you know, to really appreciate relationships. But I was always looking to find someone who gave me the support that Adrian gave, unconditional. And sadly, I never really felt that. And again, if the wives are watching, sorry, this isn't a dig. But I never had it where I felt that when things are bad, I've got someone who will shoulder the burden and to lift me up. I haven't had that. I've never had that. I'm not center, am I? Sorry.
You're fine.
There you go. So if you edit that now, it'll look weird. Where's he gone? He just moved. However, with Kristen, my wife, I really had never. We'd done something for each other that we'd never experienced before, or that we felt we hadn't experienced. I hadn't experienced unconditional support, and she hadn't experienced unconditional love. So we both got what we needed. So, like you said, when I write to her, it's real. I mean, I've been around the block now. You know, you'd think that I'd learned a lot, and I think I have. But she really, she keeps me going. Because I've been in times when I've been almost bankrupt and health issues and things going wrong. And I've felt for years that I kind of shouldered that all on my own, and it doesn't really help your mental health at all.
Right.
But since Kristen, it's the feeling you get when you know she's there no matter what, that she will back you up, she won't judge you, she will be patient. She'll probably disagree with the patient part. But and I've never had that. And me in turn, how I am is very much how Rocky is with Adrian. You can tell that she is his world. He doesn't feel like he's anything without it. And you can see it in Rocky Balboa. I mean, I was very disappointed with 5. I was very disappointed with 5. I didn't like how it started. I didn't like what they did to him. I thought the whole Paulie thing, they could have done that way better, of him just giving power of attorney. However, the scene with, and I didn't like Rocky just fighting in the streets. I just didn't like it. However, the scene with Mickey, man, I've played that so many times. Tears every time. Goosebumps again, just thinking about it. I mean, Burgess was amazing. He was absolutely amazing. And I was shocked to see him in that scene. I thought, Rocky 3 was the end of his story. He's probably ridiculously old now, not acting anymore, retired. Right. And he did that. And he did that for us. He did it. It was a gift to the fans. It was lovely. Yeah.
That was the smart way to do it.
I do have a story about Rocky 4. Okay. Rocky 4 was the first one I saw in the theatre. So Rocky 2 was projection. Rocky 1 was Betamax. Remember Betamax?
Sure.
Yeah. Rocky 3 was VHS. So, and Rocky 1, I didn't like it growing up as young. I didn't really like it because I felt it showed Rocky too gritty. I didn't like he was a collector. You know what I mean? I was just a young kid. You know what I mean? Obviously, as you get older, total different perspective. I love it now. Right. It's amazing. It's a work of art, actually. And what should inspire everybody is when Sly was writing this, he had no money, had nothing, living in a crappy apartment, hand to mouth. I think he was with his brother in LA, I think. And is that right, Mike? I can't remember.
Yeah, you're in the book. You're close enough.
So, yeah. So he wrote the script. He wrote the script, but the script was about him. It was him. It was his life. It was everything. And so ignoring that part, well, not ignoring it. Let's put that aside. Let's go forward to Rocky Balboa. He did it again because his films now have become straight to DVD. And he wasn't really A-list anymore, and things were going south for him. And Rocky Balboa was basically, I'm going to do this again. I've gone back to square one. I'm going to do this again, and he did it. And I remember in the theater, I was with my father-in-law. Both of us cried.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. The fight was irrelevant. That was just a fun part for me.
Yeah.
The fight. It was all about Adrian and him coping with losing Adrian, and of course I loved the training montage with Duke. We're gonna make some hurting bombs. Yeah,
Yes.
Oh, I have a great autograph here, by the way. I've been after this for a long time, but it's got an inscription.
Tony.
And it said, yeah, it's brilliant. I got this just a few weeks ago. And it says, he signed it, Duke, 18th of May, 2007. Throw in the damn towel. That's what he signed it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
I love that.
That's ace.
I love Duke. Wow.
So Rocky IV was the first one I saw in the theatre. Never forget it. It was the Odeon. And I never seen anything like it. It was 10 a.m. We got there. We thought we've got to get there early. Because, you don't have numbered seats. It's first come, first served. When we got there, there must have been 500 kids.
Oh.
And that was I was like 3 hours before the movie was starting.
Right.
This is kids who've been there since 8-9 o'clock. Because all of us saw one trailer. We only saw one trailer. There's no internet, there's no YouTube,
Right.
So one trailer in the theater. And it was the one where the gloves come up, the American glove, then the Russian glove, and then they both come in, explosions. That's all we talked about at school. That's the only thing all the kids were talking about. All of us. It was mental. There was rumors. He was fighting a Russian that was a cyborg, and he'd punch and knock his head off. There's all sorts of crazy stuff. So anyway, so we're there, and I never seen anything like it. And I would say at the police fight, there was 5 engines. The police showed up, because I would say there was a couple of thousand by the time the movie was, let people in half an hour before, and it was pandemonium. Pandemonium. All the streets were blocked. The police had to come in and cordon off the streets to stop, traffic coming up, because it wasn't a pedestrianised area. We were in the street, and I remember started heaving through, and the doors were glass, and they smashed through. The doors did, and everybody charged in. People were grabbing the candy off the, people were just like running in. There was kids climbing up the balconies, climbing on speakers. It was just mental. And everyone going, Rocky. Anyway, this is before nothing was on the screen. The police came in with a megaphone, and they're saying, if you don't calm down, they're not going to show the movie. And everything went dead quiet. just quiet. And then they started it. And I'll tell you what, amazing. Rocky 4 for me was everything about America I fell in love with. That's why I moved to America. I fell in love with America. I was, oh my God, 80s America was the best decade ever. The best place to be, the best everything. Movies, TV, music, even fashion. Everything. We looked ridiculous, but we loved it. Perms. Who cares? I mean, hey, if mullets can come back, perms can come back.
Right. Love that.
So there's all them Rocky stories. And of course I got my son into this. Mike's met Connor. He is the sweetest kid. He's 11 years old, and he's almost 6 foot now with size 13 shoes. He's 11. So I think he's got some genetics from his dad.
There he is.
There he is. Yeah. Hey, buddy. There he is. With his Ultimate Warrior shirt on.
But
good lad.
I have had the privilege to get to know Connor a little bit, and Charlie's just not being a dad when he says he's a sweet kid. he is one of the sweetest young men I have had the
Oh.
pleasure of having to my house and having dinner with. I
Right.
I really like the kid. And not only that, but I'm going to brag about him just for a quick second. He's one of the most popular kids in his class. Like,
That's correct.
he gets along with everyone. And when he was explaining what a typical day is like for himself,
I got a
me,
photo of that, by the way. I sent it
Oh,
to Stacy.
really?
You and Connor
Okay.
talking. Yeah.
I'll put it in. Yeah.
When he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
explaining about this, I was saying to myself how jealous I was of his ableness to fit in and get along and just be friends with everyone, because I couldn't do that. I was not that person. I was square peg round hole.
Me too.
Connor just fits in seamlessly, and he's a lovely, lovely kid, and I look forward to seeing him again. I'm sorry I missed them last time. He had school, I think, right? Didn't he?
No,
have
he had school. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So we're probably out next time. We'll see. Yeah. Talks about you a lot.
Well, he's a good kid. I really
Yes.
enjoyed talking with him. I did. Anyway, Stace, you got some pictures?
Okay, let's see. This was so funny. This is how I'm going to introduce you. Is the beard.
They call it the beard of destiny. That's what my friends call it.
The beard of destiny.
Nice.
How did you get this done? This is so cool. Sort of like a cartoon version.
Charlie
of you.
Jesus.
Yes, he does look like
Pretty cool. I do look pretty cool, if I do say so.
I like
Just
that.
one of those apps. Yeah, one of those apps that,
That's
you know,
neat.
AI.
And this young lady?
That's my daughter. That's my eldest daughter, Kira. We were in London for the coronation this year.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
I think we were going to see Mamma Mia then. Wherever I'm a big theatre fan. Anyone who follows my page will know that.
Yes.
We go to at least 20, 30 shows a year. West End, Broadway, local.
Love
That's
this.
I've been doing loads of gardening recently, and it hasn't rained in over a month. So it's scorching out there. All my bloody grass is yellow. So I'm getting all really burned. And I've got a Mexican friend, and he does like the gardening and all this. He goes, "Why don't you just put a bloody straw hat on?" Well, he didn't say bloody, that's me. Just put a straw hat on. And I'm like, that's it? He goes, yeah, so I got one. Beautiful. I can work outside now without getting burned.
It's amazing.
I'm an idiot. I didn't put two and two together. I never even thought of wearing a hat.
Oh, that's adorable. Well, Charlie,
What else have you got? What else you got?
This was fantastic. I mean, you're feeling the intensity and the love and the facts that your collection. I mean, my God, you're wonderful, wonderful, perfect. And I love the story. I love your transparency, especially. And I was saying that earlier. You are who you are. Take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And for you to be transparent about your first wife, your second wife, and to share that. I mean, I've been married twice, and you learn things as you grow, and you learn things about yourself, what you should have done. And I think Adrian is also an example to remind women how to be with men. You know what I mean? There's women that I've known that are nag, and it's like there's a reason you guys aren't happy.
Well, look at them both when they first met. Adrian was in her shell. She was meek. She seemed weak.
Mm-hmm.
It was all in there. It was all in there for her to be this ridiculously powerful, strong woman, and also to have such an incredible impact. Who the character is like one of the greatest fighter in the world, and them when they met, it was just everything came out. It's like, excuse me, she came from the pet shop, the glasses and the clipped up hair and that kind of like hand-me-down kind of clothes. But look at her before the fight.
Yeah.
Wow. The red beret, the red.
I know. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Yeah.
And it's because, at that point, she'd been with Rocky for just a few months. And that's what happened to her. That's what it did. Yeah. So what do you think it's going to do over years and decades,
Yeah.
Well,
I love them both. I love them both. Yes.
One of the things, and I'm really not going to go too far down the rabbit hole. I just want to touch on something. Charlie's got a very generous nature, Stacy, to him,
Yes,
and
he
people
does.
that are in his inner circle will understand that and will know that. I've seen him. I've seen his acts of generosity repeatedly, and in the 2 years I've gotten to know him, and how Charlie and I really met. I didn't know Charlie. I really didn't know anything about him, and he had been reached out to me one day just via normal conversation, just normal messaging, and we had been talking very briefly before this, and he just liked my contributions in the Rocky world. And this was back when Sly was doing selling off a lot of his memorabilia, and he said, Mike, he goes, just pick something. I want to see if I could get something for you on the memorabilia on Sly's thing. And so I was like, geez, that's awful generous. And so I said, yeah, okay, there's just one thing that had a very special story to me. And Stacy, you could see it over my shoulder, but Stacy,
I can see it there. There it is. I can see it behind your shoulder. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so this is what this is, and leave this up just for a moment.
Sure.
This is a picture. It's an actual newspaper of a headline of when Rocky beats Apollo. Now, obviously, they're using the wrong picture here, right? This is a prop issue with the prop department. They weren't on it. They should have contacted me, but they didn't. Whatever.
Right.
But the thing is that
I do love that picture, though.
I do love it too. This thing was above my head. Now, Stacy, if you just cut back to us, my green bench, which is right here. So this is the green bench that was in the Victor Cafe in Rocky Balboa. And of course, Rocky had all his memorabilia up on the wall. And there's a scene where the Rocky leans in, they're all sitting on this green bench and they take a picture. You can see that very newspaper clipping on the wall in the back. But that's not necessarily why I loved it. My day, and I told this story before, so I'm just going to say one quick thing, because I know we're winding down here. During filming a Rocky Balboa, I sat on this very end of the green couch with that picture where it was above the couch in the same place. And I sat there watching everything be done and put together. And Stallone hadn't gotten there yet. And I was able to sit on this green couch through half of filming because they were filming towards the door. And then I had to move and go to another part of the restaurant. But I remember at one point, it was me and a friend of mine, this guy named Steve, and it was he and I having a coffee. And I looked around and I saw that prop right there. And I said to myself, my God, how did I get here? How did I get on this stage? This is not my life. This is not where I belong, but yet I'm here. And I remember, of all the props on the wall at that point, this newspaper clipping was the one that stood out because it stood in back of my head for 6 hours. Right. And I thought, wow, how awesome. Then I saw it on the thing, and Charlie, and it was funny. Charlie, am I right or am I wrong? You lost almost all your other personal bids, but you won that one.
Yeah.
Right. And again, I had not developed a cure for cancer. I had not done anything remarkable other than just give back to Rocky fans. And Charlie and I are going to disagree on this one.
False. You've done. You have no idea how much you've done. You keep Stacy as well. You keep the light going. You keep it going.
Yeah,
45, 46 years. You keep it going. Well, no, you're way too humble. You're way too humble. You have a massive influence, and your story. It's the same as watching Sly. It's the same as watching Rocky. It's the same.
It's the same as listening to yours.
You just didn't get famous with it in that respect. Well, you're kind of famous now, but you didn't get. That was the difference. That was the only difference. Yours didn't get picked up for that movie. You weren't there in that time, but your story is the same.
No, I appreciate that, Charlie, honestly. And I will tell you something. You and your friend Paul, who came to my house before the tour, you guys made and I'm not going to get into it now, but you guys made a very compelling case. And it was something that started a change in my mind on how I saw myself to a degree. And you had some very valid points, and I appreciate that. But that's the thing, Stacy, about this Rocky world. It attracts, like, I don't know that the Jason Bourne world, I don't know that world attracts the type of incredible humans like
Mhm.
Charlie and many of our other guests that we've had that have given back to people, that have done things with zero. They want nothing back.
Right.
They don't even want to talk about the things that they've done. They literally just want to do good things to help people and to pass that goodness along. And that's one of the things, one of many things that I really respect about Charlie, and that I always
Thank
give
you.
him mental hugs and mental hugs all the way. Now, listen. Oh, I know Stacy and I, we've got things we've got to work on, and I know Charlie's got a very busy day ahead of him. But before we go, Stacy, before I ask him our last two questions, is there anything else you want to say?
No, this was wonderful. You're wonderful. I love your passion. Another great addition to our bubble. I'm always put in the same spot at the end of each guest because it's true. The heart that is attracted to the Rocky world cannot be matched. You will not find this kind of heart in Star Wars land or like you said,
John
Jason
Wick.
Bourne. Yeah.
Charlie's got a lot of love for Star Wars. He's got a lot of love for Star Wars, but I'm telling you, the Star Wars universe is not the Rocky universe.
Yeah.
Rocky
no, it's not. Star Wars fans are the worst. Star Wars fans
they're brutal.
They are. They complain about everything.
They do. But I am a big Star Wars fan as well. And maybe maybe we'll do a separate podcast just like talking about that. We'll
Star
bring
Wars
it back on. Just talk about that. Yeah. Seriously. Now, Charlie,
can I interject?
Yeah.
Can I interject on
Sure.
something
Go ahead.
just quickly? Can I? Are you okay to do this? Can I offer a prize to your viewers?
Absolutely.
A piece of my collection.
Absolutely.
Can you give me a minute? You got to
Go
cut
ahead.
this. Give me a minute.
Okay.
There you go. I'll give this away as a prize for you guys. Burt Young signed.
Nice.
Oh.
It's got a hologram. It's actually come from Nick at Authentic.
Gotcha.
He works with Sly.
Of course.
So yeah, I'll send that to you guys and give it away as a prize for whatever.
And now we'll have to come up with a really
we're gonna
good
have to come up with
right?
With a contest. Okay.
And we'll call it the Charlie Knupp Owen contest. Like how they put a wing on a hospital, right? So this is our wing. Right? This is our wing. All right, Charlie, two quick questions and we're going to let you out of here. One, I think I know the answer to. So, I love, this is a newer question Stacy and I came up when we started asking people. When you're going on about your day and Rocky is not anywhere in your purview, you're thinking about your family, you're thinking about your business, and somehow someone says, Charlie, are you a Rocky fan? What is the image that pops in your mind about Rocky? Is it Rocky 1, Rocky 3, Creed?
2.
Rocky, okay.
2. Yeah,
is there a specific image into the pop? Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Adrian and the ding, ding, the Mickey. What are we waiting for?
Right.
Every time.
Every time. Hands down.
Yep.
Hands down. That's quite beautiful. I love that. That's a great answer.
That was a turning point. That was the nexus point in the story of Rocky 2. It was that moment.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was at a juncture like this. It could have gone that way, or it could have gone that way. And because of Adrian, not in spite of her, because of her, it went that way.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Agreed.
I love it.
Agreed. You've now got 30 seconds in an elevator with Sylvester Stallone alone. What do you say to him?
Oh my God. Do you know, I thought of this. Me and Connor went to the LA thing in December.
Yeah. Right.
You know, that mess where.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were like 5 minutes away from meeting him. The guy had clearly overbooked it, and then he did one with the money, and he owed people money, and people were crying. Anyway, since then I think he's in jail. Actually,
yeah, you're right.
He is.
Yeah, we mentioned that a little while ago. Yes,
man, I got my refund, but it was about the money. You know, we had the trip. We were months excited. Connor was ridiculously excited. What would I say? I don't. What would you say? I mean, you must have gone through the exact same thing when you met him for the first time. What the hell do you say to him? Because the first thing that goes to your mind is you don't want to be cliched. The guy's heard it 1,000 times.
Yep.
He's heard it. People have gone up to him 1,000 times. You changed my life. Rocky changed my life. Thank you for doing so much for me. what do you say that isn't cliched, hasn't been said before? I tell you what I would do, because I can be a bit quiet and reserved in those situations. I would say, do you mind if I shake your hand, Mr. Stallone? And I would shake it, and I'd just say thanks, and then that'll be it.
Yeah. You see, that's the high road. I think that's a really beautiful way to go, and have that moment. And when I promise you, Charlie, when he gets a simple thank you, sincere. Now, like, hey, Sly, you're the man. Where'd it go? High five.
Yeah.
That, I mean a sincere, man-to-man, eye-to-eye handshake, and a good grip on the handshake. That's another thing he appreciates.
Not too firm, and eye contact.
Yeah, he loves that.
I know all about handshake.
He appreciates that so much, and I think that's the perfect answer. Charlie, you have exceeded our expectations on this, and I look forward to seeing you sooner rather than later. And give my best to Connor. And until we meet again,
we will. I'll be in.
Punching.
Keep punching.
Keep punching.
Keep punching, my friend. I will see you soon.
Guys.
Okay,
you
Charlie,
will.
Take care.
Bless.
Thank you.
Thank you. So fun. Oh my God, what a fun guy.
He really is.
Goodness, he's so fun.
Charlie's got a lot going on. He's got a lot of great stories. He's got a hell of a journey. His own personal journey is quite remarkable, and it's amazing because he was able to boil it down to those moments in Rocky where it truly affected him on a level that was extraordinary, and it affected him as profoundly as it affected me, you, and millions of others across the planet. So yeah, well done.
You know, for people who have lost their dad very young, Rocky's sort of been that fill-in for that whole, that guidance that dad would have brought you. Rocky brings that kind of guidance, that kind of, this is okay, that's not okay. And when he said that, I did not know that part. That startled me. I was like, oh, wow, you never know what someone's carrying.
You never ever know what baggage they are carrying through life because it's invisible. You can't see it, and so it helps. Like Stacy, I have mouthed off to you quite frequently behind the scenes, whether it's here on our podcast before we start or whether it's a phone call or whatever. You hear my big mouth go, but there are times where I sit back and say, you just wait a minute. There may be a reason why these people are where they are in their lives. And so it's a wise person who steps back and understands that. Listen, Stacy, until next. Oh, look at that. The Rocky. Oh, that's right. Who wrote that? I wrote that. Cue the Rocky music. You can find it anywhere they sell books. There's a little movie about my life called The Pretender. There it is in back of me. You can't miss it. Jimmy Toscano and his team, they have done it. There you go. The dream is real, folks. Stace, where can we find you?
I'm at Had Me at Yo on Instagram, as well as The Rocky Files, and on Facebook at The Rocky Files Podcast.
That is simply amazing. Stacy,
thank you.
Until next week.
Till next week.
Keep punching.
Keep punching.
Bye, everybody.